Using probeware and the pH meter. Genetic Engineering, Medicine and Sciences Academy, James Logan High School. For this lab, you'll need your samples, in this case Kool-Aid, in a small beaker, and you also need a fairly large beaker filled with distilled water. Make sure it's distilled water from the black faucet in the back prep room. If you're not sure where to get the distilled water, please ask. You're going to need an eMac computer, the large computers on the lab table, for today's lab. Double-click on the Macintosh hard drive icon. Once your computer's started up, of course. Once the hard drive opens up, double-click on the first Applications folder. In the Applications folder, the applications are listed alphabetically. Find the Logger Pro folder, open it, and then double-click on the red diamond Logger Pro symbol, shown here. This is what Logger Pro looks like when it's first opened. Get a key from your teacher so you can get the equipment you need. You're going to need the Logger Pro interface, which is in the large box, and you're going to need the small box that says pH sensor on the end. Here's the pH sensor out of the box. It consists of a blue glass tube with a bottle and a wire connecting it. Unscrew the cap on the bottle, pull the cap back up the glass tube so it's out of the way, and put the glass tube, which is the pH monitor, into distilled water. You want to make sure you rinse it thoroughly with distilled water. Inside the little cup that the pH meter is stored in is a pH storage solution. We need to keep it, so push it out of the way. Make sure you put it somewhere where it can't be spilled. Next to the gas jets is usually a good place. Now we'll open and set up the interface. This is the part that connects the pH meter to the computer. You need the interface itself, which looks like a calculator. You need the power cord, which is usually in a small white box. And you need the USB cable. Here's the interface itself. You won't be using those buttons. On the right side is a USB port. On the left side is the power supply attachment. Also on the left side are the places where we connect the interfaces, the pH meter, and so on. As you can see, you can connect 4 different things, but we'll only be using one today. First, connect the power supply to the computer interface. Plug it into the interface, and then plug it into the convenient little electrical outlet that's on the side of your lab table. USB cables have 2 ends, a rounder or kind of squarish end and the flat end. The squarish end connects to the computer interface, and the other end will connect to the computer. This is the USB symbol on the computer interface. Make sure that you match the rounded side of the USB cable to the rounded side of the computer interface. Don't force it. It should go in easily. The other end of the cable has delicate pins on it on one side. This can only attach to the computer one way. If you're attaching it correctly, it should slide in very easily. If you feel any resistance at all, you're plugging it in the wrong way. When the interface is plugged into the power and the computer, a green light will blink on the surface, and another green light will blink on the end. Now we'll plug in the pH meter itself. The meters have a little locking clip to hold it in place. We'll plug it into channel 1 with a flexible locking clip to the right or back of the interface. When you're ready to remove it, push on the locking clip and it will pull right out. To insert it, push it all the way until it clicks. Now if you look in your computer window in the bottom left corner, you'll see the computer starting to record data. The pH will fluctuate for a while and then stabilize. Pure water should have a pH of 7, but for some reason our distilled water is slightly acidic. Here I'm testing water from the tap, which you can see is around 7. Don't be surprised if the distilled water tests at around 5. Now we'll test our sample. Take the probe pH meter out of the distilled water, shake off the excess, and hold it in your sample. Don't leave it unattended or it may fall out and get damaged. Watch the computer screen until the pH stays fairly steady, and then record that pH. In the future, I'll show you how to use the computer to store your data, but for now, just put it in your lab notebook. If you have more than one sample to test, You must make sure that you rinse the pH meter off well with distilled water between samples. In this case, this is my last sample, so I'm rinsing it very well and leaving it in the distilled water while I clean up. The pH meter must stay in liquid all the time, so I'm going to put it back in its bottle after I disconnect it from the interface. So remember that little locking clip? Push gently and pull that out. Pull the meter out and slide the cap down low enough so that it will fit. You may need to adjust it a little bit. And screw it on fairly tightly so that it won't leak from the bottle. If there isn't any liquid in that bottle, make sure you let your teacher know. Then carefully store it in the box in which it came in. It should all fit in there neatly. There shouldn't be any shoving or pushing. For the interface, wrap the power cord up carefully and put it back in its little box. Put that on the right side of the large box. Take out the USB cable. Make sure there's no dust or spilt stuff on the interface. If you have a plastic bubble wrap package, wrap the interface in that and then put it in the box. Make sure everything gets returned to the box so it's there for the next time you need it. Last but not least, return the probeware to its cabinet. This is an unacceptable way to store the probeware. Don't just shove it in and stack it up all messy. Make sure that it's put away neat. It's very expensive equipment, and if it falls out or gets damaged, you're going to have to pay to replace it. And that's no fun. Make sure you lock the cabinet and turn the keys into the teacher. And that's it.